Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including four-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a four-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
Three-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a three-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare two laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Good evening everyone and welcome live to Apex Racing TV for round 3 of the ARL Mazda Cup here at Okayama. After the spills and thrills of the first two rounds with the two brand new formats in this season, we return to the old staple format of previous seasons with a return of the 3 15-minute races with reverse grids for race 2 and 3. Expect hard racing and the odd optimistic lunge going into corners. This format is all about getting as far up the field as possible in the qualifying session to try and get out front to avoid the mayhem of the midfield battles. Who will come out on top? Only time will tell. I am Andy Thompson. I'm joined in the commentary booth with David Hatfield, and in the production box we have the wonderful Samuli Kumo. Welcome to the session, Adam. What are you expecting tonight, mate?
Well, I've got to tell you, after last week when we went down to the two 20-minute races, I'm expecting more action and more thrills. I can honestly say that last week was one of my favourite broadcasts so far since I've joined the comm booth, so I'm expecting to see more. And obviously we're here at Okayama tonight. I think this is probably one of the most classic layout and combinations in the iRacing service. Mazda's at Okayama. If you've played iRacing, you've probably played this combo, so everyone should be well up to speed, and I'm expecting a lot of good battles tonight.
Yeah, certainly is, and obviously we've been breaking you in rather easily, Adam, with the first session being an hour, second being the 225, and now the mayhem of the 3 15-minute sessions. You know, exactly that. There'll be plenty of action, you know, coming thick and fast, and Samuli will be very busy, I'm pretty sure, on the cameras through this session. But this track, like you said, is one of the staple tracks that everybody learns on with the MX-5 going around Okayama as well. So you've got some fantastic corners and some really good overtaking opportunities on this track. You've got the upward curve at turn 4, and then you've got the hairpin at the end of the very long straight turn 5 that always sees a lot of action, and often we'll probably see 2 or 3 cars wide going into that corner, and probably quite a few spills as well. But currently in the 10-minute qualifying as we go 2.5 minutes into that, and I don't know if you want to take us through the current championship standards at the moment, Adam.
Yeah, it'd be my pleasure as they pop up for us. Yep, so here we go. The Pro Championship currently led by Marcelo Pagnan after not looking into a win last week, but he got a little bit fortunate, certainly. 286 points leads the way from Roberto Ferrari on 278. They're followed up by Premislar Martina, the Hyperion Motorsport team on 240. Orazio Principato on 209 from Dan Skinner, Enrico Musumeci, Paul Hayden, Ivan Pinocchio down on 170, and Rafael Drascaz loads out our pro drivers. In the Pro-Am category, Matteo Barlogio is leading the way by a hair's breadth from Arias Humantis. Humantis, we might remember from the first round, mixing it up with the big boys around the Nürburgring, currently on 202. Jakub Zertsky in third on 192 points from Rafael Lesny. Kristen Nalepa, the Hyperion Motorsports, just a point behind on 163, followed by Alan McKay and Thor Tulo, Niels de Kuiper, Bartolomeo Hedzia, and Ronald Moons rounds out your top 10 in the Pro-Am standings. And to finish out our AM drivers, it's Jen Goosens leading the way there from Austin Knight. Simon Sereno, on 149 points in third from Russ Fowler, Damien McMullen, Yves Fredericks, Ian May, Jay Walsh in 8th, Paul Clisdown in 9th, and Tom Bingham in 10th. That's probably, well, it's definitely our closest championship battle at the moment, as you might expect with the AM drivers.
Yeah, definitely. And throughout the field, really, in all of them, there's some close battle. Very early on in this championship, a 12-round championship, the first one on this ARL Mazda series. Normally a 9-round series, we've increased it to 12, and obviously we've added 2 extra formats, an hour race and 2 25-minute races, as well as obviously the staple that we're watching here tonight, the 3 15-minute sprint races that we have. So the drivers do get 2 drop rounds throughout the season. The drop rounds have not been applied yet, obviously, as we've only just done 2 rounds, or else everyone will be on 0. So that'll be applied around about round 5 or 6 coming into the championship. And currently watching on screen Tom Bingham. He joined at round 2, had a great round at Alton Park. I think he got his first AM victory in the first race, and was very much challenging for the second race for that race win, but unfortunately he got a slow down, which saw him took 4th place in the second one. So pretty sure that he will be up there when the drop rounds start coming into effect. But what is interesting at the front of the field, Adam, is Pagnan currently leading the way in the pros. Ferrari last season, and obviously for our regular viewers to this season, they all know how fast Roberto Ferrari is in this Mazda, and literally romped away with it last season. So always good to see Roberto getting a little bit of a challenge there from Pagnan at the moment in the pro standings. But yeah, as we're currently 6 minutes into qualifying, it's pretty uneven split there, with the majority of the pros out the front. Dan Skinner at the moment not having a great time there in P22, and a bit of an issue there with Matteo Bellagio getting into a bit of a with Ian May there out on qualifying. Probably one of the hazards with being this open qualifying session, so it adds a little bit of more spice to the fact that you need to watch where you are out on track, maybe use that slipstream, but obviously you need to make sure that you don't get caught up and affect your lap. So Bellagio there, as we see, in 4th place at the moment, mixing it very much within the pro stands, and was our top driver in the practice session. So maybe expecting some big things here by Bartolomeo there in 4th place. But we've got Pagnan currently out on pole position, Martina in 2nd, Ivan Pinocchio there in third. Ferrari down there currently at the moment in P7th. We do have one pit lane start here tonight, Orazio Principato, for getting a penalty at Oulton Park. So he will have a pit lane start for the first race. So I expect to see him come in through the field. And obviously tonight, as we said at the start, we do have reverse grids for race 2 and 3. For race 2, it's 8 positions, and then for race 3, it's going to be 10. So that adds a little bit of spice to the proceedings there, Adam, and really mixes up these fields when we get to race 2 and 3.
Yeah, we saw it last week. How you dealt with climbing back up through the field really was the key element in that second race. We saw a couple of drivers get hung out a little bit, got the wrong side of battles and lost out. But then it all came to a head right at the end, didn't it? We had that big accident between the front three down at the Britain's hairpin. The Shell Oil's hairpin at Oulton. So we'll hopefully avoid any accidents of that nature this time out. The 8 and then the 10, it's interesting. You don't want to be that driver who misses out the first time in 9th or 10th, do you? You want to try and finish both races inside the top 8 so you can benefit and stay out in the lead.
Yeah, you certainly do, and these 350-minute races it's all about trying to keep safe on the first lap, and I'm pretty sure we'll see it. And as the races progress, the drivers become more and more adventurous, should we say, in their lines that they will take. And certainly, normally we see by race 3, I think the hand grenade ping well and truly gets pulled, and we see some very intense racing out on track, being the last race of the night. But yeah, it's all about keeping nice and safe, because we've seen it in the past. Keeping it safe, you can gain a lot of position, certainly in this type of race where you will have people trying to banzai it up the inside just to try and get that position and thinking, I've only got to get 15 minutes, I've got to get to the front straight away. So it's all about taking your time and keeping your cool and staying safe, really, I think, and you'll gain quite a few positions from that sort of tactic.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly drivers who are sort of in the teen positions, they might think they can earn more positions just by keeping out of trouble. Certainly the second race, when you're looking for the top 10, I would imagine they'd have their eyes all over a top 10 finish there. We come to the end of qualifying now. Last few drivers on what is going to be their final lap, as the checkered flags waving in 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. So any drivers on their final lap now, those get deleted. That's the end of the session, and we wait to see our board. And then we are Marcello Pagnan taking over pole position with a 1:44.124, beats out Prenislav Martina into second position from Ivan Pinocchio in third. Matteo Barloggio leads the Pro-Ams in fourth position. Despite that accident that we saw early on in qualifying, managed to get a lap in before all that fell out. Enrico Musumeci in fifth place from Bartolomeo Kedzia in sixth. Paul Hayden lines up seventh ahead of Roberto Ferrari, our second in the pro standings at the moment. He'll hope to be climbing the grid, the order in this race, sorry. Rafael Lesny lines up ninth from Christian Nelepra in 10th. Jakub Zerdzki lines up 11th ahead of our first AM driver Russ Fowler in 12th. Moving on up, Arias Humantis in 13th from Austin Knight, 14th. Tom Bingham and Jens Goosens make up the 8th row. Nils de Kuiper in 17th from Ronald Moons. Dan Skinner, our lowest placed pro driver, in 19th from Ian May. Alan McCain, Graham Coleman, Simon Sereno, Joey Walsh on 24th. Orazio Principato, who didn't set a time, will be starting from the pit lane for this one. Damien McMullen back in 26th. Yves Fredericks and Paul Clist round out your 28 car grid.
So a big car grid here for Okayama as we get set to the start of race number 1. Obviously just waiting for the lap timer to run down, as Principato has obviously got a pit lane start for this race, which gave that time for Adam to go through the 28 car field. Yeah, you certainly have to be quick on that grid, certainly if we haven't got any pit lane starts. But the drivers just getting themselves all ready, all prepped, ready for this corner. And this first corner into Okayama, it can be treacherous, certainly with the cars as close as they are on this first lap. So as we see the lights just about to get ready to go on, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and we have race 1 underway ready here at Okayama. And Pagnan seems to get a quite good start with Martina just getting behind him. Pinocchio just tucking in behind there in third place. So the top 3 managed to keep wide. We do have cars of breadth further down the field going in around turn number 1, but it seems that everybody has managed to get around the track, which is always great to see on this opening lap. The tyres will be cold, so and the brakes obviously not at full temperature, so the drivers do need to take it a little bit easier. Certainly coming down to this corner here at Wood Curve, very long right-hander corner that's you literally got to go in slow and then try and build up the speed coming out, because it's an extremely long straight at the back straight, which you get a lot of slipstream, and then the treacherous really tight hairpin here coming down into turn 5 as we see the midfield battle there, cars going too wide coming down into here. The front are all sort of staying in the line as we see Musamechi just making a move up on the inside, managing to get past Bartolomeo there, the top of the Pro-Am drivers in 5th place. But one of the drivers that surprised me at the moment that seems to be struggling a little bit is Ferrari back there in 9th. Oh, we seem to have a little bit of an incident with Graham Coleman and Jay Walsh there coming around turn number 5, the hairpin. So we do have our first casualties of the day. Both cars seem to be okay at the moment, although obviously Jay Walsh and Coleman are now at the back of the field as we return to the front of the wheel. Paul Hayden making a charge there, trying to get back to Bartolomeo to get that 5th place, going too wide into the last corner. Ferrari looking on the inside as well to try and get past, but certainly doesn't seem to be the round at the moment for Ferrari, but he is sat at the moment in that reverse grid. So that is the end of our first lap, and pretty much a clean one really, Adam, there for the first lap out here.
Yep, first lap in the books. One thing we did see there was Ferrari trying to go up the inside of Hayden on the inside of turn 5. It rapidly turned into the outside for Revolver and turn 7. So it's a feature of this track. It switches back and forth, so if you can't get your move done, you might find yourself losing out at the next corner. We watch, is this Skinner up the inside of Bingham now? Going through turn 2, he's got the overlap for the Moscow. No, just has to slap back in there. Immediately being challenged by Ronald's moves right on his rear bumper. Late braking, goes for the inside. And just manages to back out of it in time. Runs a little bit wide though. And Moons is going to have that overlap. Let's see which of them can pick up the slipstream for the cars in front.
Yeah, so they come down here, down the long straight. Slipstream should be quite strong in these cars coming down here, but we're not really seeing the effect of it really as they come into turn 5. A bit of an incident. Oh, big, huge. I mean, wow. I mean, you could throw a blanket over them 7 cars there as they're going side by side. So it'll be interesting if we've got a replay of that action, probably 2 or 3 wide coming into the hairpin. And like you said, really tight corner, and then on the exit you got an immediate double left-hander or Piper. Oh, as we see Jamantas in the background getting it completely wrong and doing a really good thing there and going back into pit to try and not cause a complete car pileup, as we see Raphael Lesney and Jacob Zerskig at the front having a little bit of an issue coming through Hobbs corner, and it's all starting to kick off now after lap 2, after having the quiet one in lap 1 there, Adam.
Yep, cars all over the road on that one. It's Martina who's lost out big time on that lap. He was second at the start of the lap, pushing Pagnan across the line virtually. He's down in 11th now, so clearly the main driver involved in whatever shenanigans took place at turn 5. Loads of cars getting backed up though. Everyone's suddenly having to jostle for position, and then it seemed to ripple on back through the pack as we watch Skinner on the outside there. Round the outside of Austin Knight, is that through turn 2?
Yeah, managed to get his car done, and Knight's got to Cooper on the inside trying to take him down there. Doesn't manage to get it to, so Austin Knight still managed to keep it out, but you got 143 car, Alan McCain just diving down the inside, getting a really good run and an exit out of the corner, and now has Austin Knight right by the side of him, so 2x2 wide coming down here into turn 5 into the hairpin, and I think we got the car 134 just trying to get into the middle of them, which I think is McCain, just trying to make it 3 wide coming into the hairpin, just trying to push him along there is tonight, but Alan just getting that inside line and managing to get the move done on Austin and covering off, as you say, that inside for the 2 left-hander corners. So a great move there by Alan Knight in 16th to take Austin Knight there. So a great move.
Yeah, Austin paid him a lot of respect on the turn in there. He could have squeezed him down a little bit more potentially. Oh, as we've got contact, is that De Kuiper spinning out on the inside? Oh, and now he's got to wait for everyone to slide by. I think you can go now, Niels. Yeah, there he goes.
Absolutely terrible place to turn it on, certainly if you're in the mid backpack roll, because you'll be pushed right to the back of the field. But what we have missed is Ferrari making a move up there. The last time we saw Ferrari, he was in 8th position. He's now currently in 3rd and breathing down the neck quite heavily of Ivan Pinocchio, who's currently in 2nd. But at the moment, Pagnan is sort of checking out from the field, 2.6 seconds ahead of Pinocchio in 2nd. So has really had been profited from the incident that obviously you were mentioning earlier with Martina coming down into the hairpin. So Pagnan managing to make a bolt for it for whatever happened at that incident coming down into the hairpin.
Yeah, the accident that displaced Martina also gave Pagnan a nice big opening. He's pulled out 2.5 seconds now. Ferrari also benefiting and sliding through the chaos up into 3rd position. Actually, on that last lap, it was Musumeci setting the fastest lap of the race. So those 3 clearly destined to battle for the rest of what we've only got 9 minutes of the race left now. 6 minutes already in the bag. As we watch Barlogio just ahead of Kedzia and Hayden. Hayden all over the back here. And remains there for the moment.
Yeah, definitely. So a quick rundown of your field. So in the Pro, you got Pagnan, Pinocchio and Ferrari currently as the 3 class leaders. In the Pro-Ams, you got Veloggio, Kedzia and Ziki in the top of the Pro-Am. And in the Am category, you got Jens Goosens, Austin Knight and Ian May there in 17th. So all battles not going outside. The Am battle, Jen Goosens currently doing exceptionally well up in P11, just behind Martina in P10th. So about 4 places between him and the next Am driver in P16, which is Austin Knight. And then obviously got Bellagio there in 4th place overall, who's got Kedzia just behind him for a little bit of action to go on within the classes. But Pagnan at the moment is just getting further and further out in this race. He's had an exceptional first round in this first 15-minute race.
Yeah, he's doing well there, looking to snatch the first win of the night. I think we should also mention Orazio Principato out of the pit lane, currently up to 20th. Probably hoping to approach the top 10 by the end of tonight. All those cars in front of him all stacked up and ready to battle through. So we watch Serrano now up the inside of May. Knight just ahead of them as well. These 3 cars looking to be joined. Oh, and at the front, Ferrari taking 2nd.
Taking a dive down there into the hairpin and getting the move done there on Ivan Pinocchio. I'm quite surprised at that, because Pinocchio is a very defensive driver and will close off gaps there. So that must have been an exceptional move from Ferrari to manage to take that P2 position. But the usual suspects are out in front yet again, Pagnan and Ferrari. But Ferrari is certainly going to have his battles done to try and close down that gap of 3.4 seconds. As we said, only a 15-minute race, so we're already over halfway through this race at the moment. So it's going to be a long haul for trying to get it back, as Aris Germantis again coming into the pit. So this is the 2nd time Aris has come in, and I think that will be him for race number 1 at the moment, and he can't have a drive-through, surely. No, just going to space now. No, I think he's just said, you know what, I'll just chill out for the rest of it, watch the rest of the stream, and then enjoy the 2nd and 3rd race, because pretty much that's everyone. Oh, yeah, actually coming back out there again, so that's a bit of a strange one.
Yeah, very slowly as well, obviously just letting everyone go by so he doesn't get in anyone's way, which is thoughtful of him.
I mean, it makes sense, because, you know, as long as you're within 2 laps of the leader, you will score points here. So, you know, what you don't want to do is just give up and lose a lot of points, because the points at the end, certainly on these, are accumulated over the 3 15-minute rounds. So, you know, if you don't score on one round, then it'll be bad. As we watch Ronald Moons here having a tight battle with Alan McCain, just trying to get up on the inside, coming down his hairpin. We'll get the move done over the 176 car there. So, great move. That's Alan McCain getting past Ronald Moons. Oh, big dive down there from Damien McMullen, just trying to get in, mix in, and quite close to causing a carnage. But one of the persons I am happy to see and having a decent mate is Ian May, the Carmona team, the 256 we're watching there behind Damien. He's had a pretty terrible first couple of rounds, seems to be getting a lot of instance. Oh, that is round. Hobbs corner, a bit of an incident there at the front of the field, and Musumeci looks like he got spun around. And Dave, I'll let you take us through this.
Yeah, let's just see how he's gone about this. He seems to be all right, and then no, the 1-1-2. Kedzia goes in late, and Hayden gets trapped in the middle of it, nowhere to go. I don't know if that was just over-ambition from Kedzia or he misread the driver in front of him, but there wasn't an overtake on there.
Definitely not, and I don't think Musumeci will be happy with that pass that was or attempted pass with no room at all. So put pace to Musumeci's round at the moment. Currently down in P12, won't be in that reverse grid. So at the moment, the current pole sitter would be Jens Goosens there, the amateur driver, profiting from a lot of incidents from the pros and pro-ams in front of him and capitalising really well. I mean, look at the gap between himself and the next AM driver. You're talking 7 places between himself and Austin Knight in P16, so this is going to be a great points haul for the amateur championship to get Jens Goosens a little bit further out. As we already know, he is currently leading that championship. So Jens Goosens doing a cracking job here in race number 1. Only 3 minutes left, so 2 laps maximum left within this race. So it's just been fast and frenetic there, Adam.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately for Goosens, he's just lost that position to Paul Hayden. So Paul Hayden now on the bubble. Oh, as we've got Nalepa off on the grass. Oh, and he's going to make further contact. That's Alan McCain trying to drive around the outside, and now Ronald Moons looking to take advantage as well. So this flat-out right-hander over the curb. Oh, careful, boys! And Moons thinks better of it and just backs out. But yeah, on the bubble at the moment, it's Paul Hayden in that 8th spot. He's displaced Goosens, unfortunately. Will still obviously be very happy to be leading the AM category at the moment.
Yeah, and I think certainly that's where his race is. Battling very hard with the pro-ams in around him, but you know, just needs to have another eye on his own championship and just see how many places are between him and the next amateur driver. What he doesn't want to be doing is taking a spin, which would see him lose all his advantage. But we're currently watching Enrico Musumeci trying to make a decent move and a nice little move coming down there into the outward curve, getting past the car 144, and 144 giving him a slight little nudge on the outside, as we saw Musumeci getting a little bit squirrely coming out of the corner, but still managing to keep at the front, going heavily defensive on the inside, coming down to turn number 5 on the hairpin, as we watch Dan Skinner getting right up behind and looking on the outside to try and make it too wide, just trying to get past Leslie there in front. But I think he's just left the door open and letting the Pella come, but he is going to have the inside line for the infield part of the track.
Yeah, I think Leper's carried the momentum though, right round the outside of 6 and 7. Will he be able to shut the door as we head to the hairpin now? He stays right for the moment. Skinner up the inside, late on the brakes. Yep, they're still side by side. Advantage to Nalepa though now as we head right. And Nalepa takes that position. Skinner looking to lose out to McCain possibly now as well. Repeat from last lap, McCain up the inside this time. And Moons on the outside. And again, Moons can't quite find a way back up into 14th place. But Nalepa now ahead of this little train. As we see in the 4 distance, Musumeci up to 10th now. He's only got 1 more lap. I don't think he's going to be climbing any further as we see the white flag waving in the background.
Yeah, definitely. And if we look at the front of the race, Pagnan at the moment still keeping that 4-second gap over Ferrari. So this is another good race for Pagnan on the first of 3 tonight to take that first race win, as long as he keeps it nice and clean, which I'm sure he will do, coming down into the last sector of this track. We're watching down the long straight coming into the hairpin of turn 5. They're going to go through a Revolver Piper on the infield, the 2 left-hander corners before he takes Redmond and Hobbs before he goes over the line. But we watch a battle back here. 4th, 6th place, Martina and Kezia really trying to push him hard, just trying to get that one extra position. But what he needs to be aware of is Martina behind him, just trying to push him wide at the moment. So just these 2 Pro-Am drivers just need to be aware. Martina just manages to get past Kedza on the inside, so we're going to go 3 wide here into Redmond's, and hopefully keep it nice and clean as they literally bang doors coming out of there. 2 of the cars just getting slightly off round. Martina comes out on top in this battle at the moment between Kezia and Paul Hayden seems to be very much in the battle, but one person who's pretty easy this round is Pagnan, who manages to take race 1 victory with Ferrari in 2nd, Pinocchio in 3rd, and we still see who's going to come out on top on this battle, and it looks like Martina with Hayden and Kezia just put down to 8th place, and Goosens the top of the ARMS coming in 9th place, just missing out on that reverse grid pole, and some synchronized 4-car ride coming down the first straight there. But yeah, what a first race.
Yeah, that was a great finish. I think Goosens was sat there waiting to open his presents. He saw 3 wide into the last couple of hairpins and must have been expecting something to fall into his lap. Unlucky not to gain anything there. He's going to be starting the next race in 9th, while the 8 drives in front of him get that reverse grid formation. But yeah, fantastic opening race.
It is. It's going to be interesting for the second race. You've got all the pros and pro-ams that are in the top 8, so it's no amateurs, unfortunately, going to be at the front of the grid. But this third race that's coming up after the one we're just about to watch is a 10-place reverse grid. So there could be an opportunity for a few amateur drivers to possibly get into that reverse grid position, but we'll see how race 2 pans out and see how Pagnan and Ferrari can actually try and manage to get through the field, and see if Pagnan how he copes with being in traffic, because he pretty much went out from the front of the race on that in that race. So be interested to see if Pagnan can get through the thing. So race 1 results here: Pagnan in 1st, Ferrari in 2nd, Pinocchio in 3rd, Baggio in 4th, Zertzig in 5th, Martina in 6th, Hayden in 7th, but Gedza in 8th, Goosens 9th, and Musumeci round out your top 10. As you can see, the rest of the field lining up, and we'll try and move over to the grid to quickly take you through your grid positions here for race number 2. So on the pole position, we see Kedza there, Hayden in 2nd, Martina 2nd, Zerzi, Bartolo, Pinocchio, Ferrari, Pagnan, Goosens, Musumeci round out your top 10. Leslie, Napella, Skinner, Kane, Moons, Principalo, Knight, May, Serrano and Fredericks are your top 20. As the lights already go red, and we are off for race number 2. Kezia makes a good start, just trying to cover off Paul Hayden going into the first corner, and does an exceptional job there of covering off Hayden, trying not to give him the position into there. As we watch Martina coming around the outside of turn number 1. Further back, we've got Jens Goosens there in the midfield battle, the midfield melee that unchoose in these Mazdas, but managing to get it through nice and neatly. So pretty much the only change, Paul Hayden has managed to get past Kezia for the race win. As we have a big carnage, big incident in the midfield battle. There's 7 cars there cut. I can see Austin Knight. Is that Jens Goosens that's involved there with Graham Coleman? Or was that Yves Frederick? I think that was Yves Frederick, wasn't it? So we'll see what happened here as we're on board with Austin Knight. Just coming around, and he just slightly gets it wrong and causes that cascading effect. You know, being so close on the first lap, you know, one car has an incident, as we see there, and we can just see like literally 8 or 9 cars just involved in a big melee just from one incident of a car spinning there. So an unfortunate midfield collision there that's affected a few of the drivers, as we see Simeon Serrano and Tom Bingham going back to the pit lanes with damaged cars. As we look out onto the front, so Paul Hayden still managing to keep that first place over Professor Martina, who's managed to make a move on Kedzra, so he has dropped down 2 places to currently still in 3rd place. There's still current in the top, and Musumeci making a move up on the inside there of Bartologo and taking that nicely. So currently have your top 10. You've got Hayden, Martina, Kedzra at the top of the program, Ferrari there in 4th, Cersei, Pinocchio, Pagnan not making very much inroad really there in P8. At the moment, Musumeci just behind him, Ferrari's teammate in P9. Top of the AMS at the moment is Jen Goosens in P11, but we're watching a battle here with Leslie trying to get around the inside and outside of May, and May's just going on the inside, coming around turn number 2. So May just managing to get it through over Leslie in P19. We continue watching this battle. Ian May, the Potato Nation, 18th place. He had a really good finish for that first race. Got involved, I think, maybe a little bit in that contact, and then basically we're looking at it. So he's just watching these 2 cars coming down the back straight here, going into turn 5. You can just see the melee of cars in front of him with that midfield backup, and that one little incident and how much that has spread out this back part of the field as we look there going into Paul Hayden, who currently leads at this race over Martina in 2nd place. The top of the Pro-Am still Kezia there in 3rd place, just holding off Ferrari at the moment, who's sat in 4th. So a great recovery drive there for Ferrari, getting up 3 places, so, and vitally getting some air between himself and Pagnan in 7th. So Pagnan not really making massive inroads into this race at the moment, Adam.
Sorry, Andy, still experiencing a couple of technical difficulties on my end.
That's okay, mate. That's okay, mate. Yeah, you take your time there as we enjoy the race. So a big, long stream of cars there coming down into turn number 1. Pagnan just trying to get back up. So currently, Bellagio, the Pro-Am driver there, is occupying that reverse grid pole at the moment. Obviously 4 minutes in, 11 minutes left of this race number 2. Paul Hayden still managing to keep out front, but not too far away is Martina, only 0.2 of a second. Kezia 1.5 seconds behind there in 3rd place, so a little bit of a gap to Ferrari, and then Ferrari's right on the tail of Kezia at the moment as we take another trip down the long back straight coming into the hairpin. So the cars still keeping in a nice long line at the front of the grid, but certainly further back we've got cars trying to go too wide, and Ferrari just takes that move up onto the inside, and a great move there to get the 3rd place. But what wasn't a great move was that between Pagnan and I think that was Ivan Pinocchio, and Pagnan coming off the worst and going down to 12th place. This is great news for Ferrari, but terrible news for Pagnan, who obviously run race number 1 and currently finds himself having a little bit of an issue with Ivan Pinocchio, and down to 12th place. But hopefully we've got a replay that we can watch here, so we can see just at the background there Pagnan trying to go on the outside. Ivan Pinocchio just moving to the outside and just coming into contact down into the hairpin, and it's been hard to call who that was, to be honest with you. I think that might have been Pagnan's slight little mistake going into the back of Pinocchio, coming into the hairpin. So it's always a hard one to call out when you got cars in, but you can just see how close Martina is to Hayden in front. At the moment, Hayden's soaking up the pressure, managing to stay out there in the 1st place, but Martina is actually trying to get the best he can and try and get that slipstream, and probably looking to be good to stay on board as they go down the back straight and see if he can make that move coming into the hairpin. So I think we have Adam back. Have we got you back, Adam?
Yeah, I'm here. I just rejoined as we saw that accident between Pinocchio there on the previous lap and Pagnan. It was unfortunate. I would agree with you there. It was Pagnan getting a little bit late on the brakes and just
catching the rear of Pinocchio. As we watch Martina now, looking up the inside, thinks better of it as we go deep on the brakes into the turn 5 hairpin again.
So he's just biding his time, I think, is Martina at the moment, doing a great job in P2, but obviously got the ever-present Ferrari just behind him, 0.7 in a second as we watch. Oh, two teammates, and then is that Pagnan again getting involved? And that was around Piper Corner, so Pagnan could see himself right at the back of this grid, and treacherous turnaround coming around that corner as well. So it's certainly around at the moment for Pagnan to forget as we watch a replay to see what happened again. I think that who is around him? I think that is Pinocchio in front of him, one of them very brightly coloured cars, the car 124, and I think it was Pagnan again going into the back. Who was that? Car 124 is Bellagio of Furious Team Racing. So Pagnan is he's not having the best of races.
It was Prince Pato and Skinner ahead of them who were side by side and sort of holding the show up. And then I think he just got a little bit frustrated, did Pagnan, decided he was going to do or dive up the inside, and obviously didn't come off. Unfortunately for him, now down in 18th place.
Yeah, terrible run for him at the moment. Great, and Ferrari really needs to try and maximise his points in this round, because they'll have a great clawback from in the championship if he can try and overtake Martina and Hayden for this race win. But we're about halfway through this second race, and you can sort of see how close they are. Martina just trying to look on the outside. You've got Paul Hayden on the inside, which would be the better line, but if Martina can manage to keep the car alongside, which he doesn't manage to do, he would have had, contact there, and Paul Hayden gets taken out by Martina coming around that corner. Luckily, they still managed to keep on, but that is terrible there for Paul Hayden, who was having a great race out front, but look again, Ferrari has managed to keep his nose clean and is leading this race at the moment. As you're watching Appella there, just taking it, trying to get up the inside of who was that? That was Principato to try and take that 8th place. They're doing a great job there. Is the Pro-Am driver. So the Pro-Am driver is really mixing it up at the moment with the pros. We got Kedzia currently in P2, the top of the Pro-Ams. Zicki in 3rd place, and other Pro-Am drivers. So with all the incidents that we've had with the pro drivers at the front of the field, it's giving some really valuable points here to the Pro-Am drivers who are trying to keep it nice and clean, and just keeping their nose clean and keeping out of trouble. And it's like I was saying at the start of the race is that, you know, although these are 15-minute sprint races, it's all about trying to keep your nose clean and, you know, making your passing move as optimistic as you can, so you don't try to cause an incident, as we're currently watching Paul Hayden trying to recover back from that hit earlier on with Martina currently in P5th. So not everything lost really, still within the top 5, but does have Martina behind him again as the battle on, as we look for Kedzia just saying, Ferrari, I know you're good, but if you give me the opportunity, I'm going to try and put my car down the inside. So putting a lot of pressure over Ferrari there. In 1st place is Kedzia, the top of the Pro-Am driver, and Zicki behind him and Musumeci are having another great battle. So these 4 cars are fighting it tooth and nail out on track. But is that, I think Martina has managed to get past Paul Hayden as well for 5th place. So Paul Hayden demoted at the moment down to 6th. So from 1st place with a slight issue and a contact with Martina, as saw him down to 5th, and Martina, just to add salt into the wounds, has just managed to overtake Paul Hayden for that P5 position. So pretty sure he will be fighting as much as he can, and he now has the Everessence Ivan Pinocchio behind him as well for comfort. So you know, Paul Hayden certainly been in the fights at the moment, certainly in this race number 2, but still got another 4 minutes left of this second race. I mean, the action's just coming at us thick and fast at the moment, but yeah, the front four sort of pulling away. In fact, the front three now are sort of pulling away a little bit from Musumeci. Still within a second at the moment, so just needs to make sure that he holds on to the tailpipes of the Zerzuki in front and try and get it. But these two Pro-Am drivers in second and third place are doing a fantastic job of keeping up at the front of the field, and we'll get some really good points, because the points are not done by class, they're done by overall position. So, you know, having these two Pro-Am drivers up in second and third will be a good points haul over the third place Napella, who's currently down in P8 or 9th at the moment, fighting very hard with Principato coming in as we watch him come around the hairpin. Principato putting a lot of pressure over Napella there in P8, so putting the Pro-Am driver under a lot of pressure is Principato, and he's done really well considering he had a pit lane start for that first race, didn't get into the reverse grid, has done an exceptional job to get himself up to P8, which means that he will be in that reverse grid of P10 for race number 3. So a great recovery drive for Principato, currently up in 8th. Maybe a bit fortunate with a lot of the incidents that happened down the field, but that's racing. At the end of the day, you take whatever's given to you and make the most out of it. But currently the top of the amateur drivers is Jen Goosens there in P12. A decent gap, 7 seconds over May in second place, who's having a really good outing here at Okayama. As we said before, Ian May not having the best of 2 rounds in the first 2 opening rounds of the season, but seems to be enjoying Okayama and is doing exceptionally well here tonight, the Potato Nation team driver of Ian May. So great outing there, Ian, and it's always nice to see drivers who stick with it. You know, not every track on this 12 round is going to be to everybody's favor. Everyone's going to have their favorite tracks and the ones they really don't like, so maybe it's certainly ones are not. As we watch Musumeci having a real good battle here with Zerzik at the moment, managing to get that P3 coming down into the hairpin, getting it done before the hairpin, and then we've got Zerzik just tucking in behind him as we watch Pinocchio just trying to make a dive down Martina at the moment, and has his teammates Principato behind him there in 8th place. Napella just slowly losing track at the moment, down to 9th place, but still keeping in contact with these drivers in front of him. So if any of these pro drivers do have some incidents, he will be there to pounce and trying to get up a little bit further. So Napella is going to have Skinner behind him for a little bit of action, but one of the drivers at the moment that's having a little bit of a torrid time is Jomantas, currently just 1 place out of that reverse grid pole position, and you can see Skinner in front of him. So if you can try and get him before the end of this race, which is going to be extremely hard, it might actually be the last lap. We'll just look to see if we can see the white flag raising. Yes, we can. So this is the last lap. So as long as Dan Skinner there in P10 for Old Time Racing keeps it nice and clean, he should be our pole sitter for race number 3. But Jomantas did a great job, obviously up 17 positions from where he started in this race number 2. So I won't take that away from Arias. Has managed to do it and is currently sitting P4 in the Pro-Ams. Top of the AMs, as we said, Jen Goosens. Second is May Fowler, currently there in third at the moment. But Tom Bingham is, I think he's a lap down there, yes, just letting the drivers through, the battling drivers at the front of the field. So Tom Bingham, as we saw, was one of the drivers that was caught up with that turn 2 incident, all caused by one of our commentators, Austin Knight, obviously not on purpose, just lost control of his car coming through that corner and caused a ripple effect down the grid where we saw about 7 or 8 cars. But Ferrari is managing to keep himself at the front of this field, and Kedza at the moment, as we see a late lunge there from Musumeci, not quite admitted. As Martinez come off. So might have been a slight issue between himself and Hayden there, who was following him behind in 6th place. So I'm not sure what happened there. I don't know if we can get a quick replay. But what we will do is we'll see Roberto Ferrari take this 2nd place win. It's a vital win for Ferrari, considering his main championship rival is languishing down in P14 in race number 2. So a great points haul there for Roberto Ferrari. Kedza at the top of the Pro-Ams, coming in second place. Musumeci in third, and Zerdzicki there in fourth. So Kedza and Zerdzicki doing an exceptional job in the Pro-Am categories to maximise their points, and that'll be a great point haul. And Jens Goosens again, you know, has about 6 cars in his class difference. So Jens Goosens from race 1 and race 2 has a real healthy margin going into race number 3 over the rest of the Anfield. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. I'm not sure if we have Adam. Have we got you back, mate, or are you still AFK?
Yeah,
so
man,
I think you back. Yeah, you back, are you, Adam, or are you still sorting out your internet?
I'm not back fully. I've not got my screens up yet. You've heard
okay.
of a rain dance? I'm doing a Wi-Fi dance.
Oh, the joys of Wi-Fi. So as we just wait for the last couple of drivers here to finish in race number 2, we'll take you through the final positions, and then we have a thankful 5-minute break as the drivers have a warm-up before race 3, where we will have a couple of messages from our sponsors. We're just waiting for the last couple of drivers to finish. I'm not sure who that is really. Who is it? Is it Tom Bingham? Or was it Serrano? There we go. Still waiting for Serrano to come up, and there we do. He finally comes over there after a pretty terrible second race there. So a race results for number 2. Roberto Ferrari comes out as your winner for race 2. Kedza from the Pro-Am gets a really great P2 position in race 2. Musumeci, Roberto Ferrari's teammate there, in P3. Zerdzicki in 4th. Paul Hayden in 5th. Ivan Pinocchio in 6th. Principato in 7th. Kedza Napella in 8th place. Dan Skinner in 9th. Ariel Yamantis managing to get that 10th place. So gets that reverse grid after that late spin from Martina. Jens Goosens gets 11th place atop of your AM drivers. Niels de Cooper in 12th. Professor Martina obviously was in the top 10, but had that slight issue coming out of Piper, which put him down outside the reverse grid positions. Martello Pagnan in 14th. Ronald Moons in 15th position. Alan McCain 16th. Ian May 17th. Matteo Bartologo in 18th. Then you got Damien McMullen, Austin Knight, Russ Fowler, Jay Walsh, Yves Frederick, Paul Clist, Raphael Lesney in 25th. Graham Cole, Simeon Serrano, and Tom Bingham, unfortunately, bringing up the tail end of the field in P28. So that is your race number 2. So, like I said, we have a little bit of a breather here. Go and get some refreshments, and we'll just watch a few messages from one of our sponsors. So we'll see you in a few minutes back here on Apex Racing TV.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Right, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Apex Racing TV for race number 3 of 3 for these Mazda Cup here tonight at Okayama. We've been entertained for the first 2 races here tonight, and we have our last race coming up with obviously a reverse grid of 10 places over the results for race number 2. And obviously we've got Adam back, which is great to have Adam back. Missed a lot of that action, Adam, so you know, hopefully this race 3, which I'm sure it will be just as entertaining.
Yeah, I'm hoping they've stored some up for me at the end of this one. I'm hoping also to see a different winner from tonight. We've had Pagnan and Ferrari race 1 and race 2. We had those in the first 2 rounds, so let's see if we can't get someone new for race 3 tonight.
Yeah, certainly will be one, but you never count out Roberto Ferrari. He's obviously starting in P10 for this 3rd race, so we'll see what he can, but his main rival will be down there in P14 where he finished. And hopefully we'll be able to quickly take you through the grid here for race number 3. So Arias Germantis is on pole position, Dan Skinner, Napella the second of the Pro-Ams there in 3rd, Principado in 4th, Ivan Pinocchio, Paul Hayden, Zertziki, Musamechi, Kedza, Roberto Ferrari starting in 10th, Jen Goosens, Topian in 11th, the Coops in 12th position there. 13th we got Martina, Pagnan in 14th, Moons, McCain, May, Bartologo, McMullen, Knight, Fowler, Walsh, Fredericks, Clist, Raphael Lesney, Graham Coleman, Simeon Serrano and Tom Bingham round out your field here of 28 for the final race. 15 minutes for the end of the Okayama series as the lights come on for the 3rd and final time tonight as Arias Germantis tries to get away from the front of the grid. So let's see if he can get a good start here over Dan Skinner in the old-time race in the 2nd race. Managing to keep it, taking it nice and wide to get that really good entry into turn number 1. Manages to keep that P1 position. So we do know that Arias Germantis is a very quick Pro-Am driver. So maybe this will be his opportunity here, being at the front of the grid, not having any distractions around him, just trying to get those. We see, a big issue there. Who was that? I think that was... Principato just getting into the line and causing a roadblock in the midfield of the pack, and as we saw there, just sliding back onto the track and getting in front of Jens Goosens there and putting paid to his advancements in the AM, as we currently see him there in 15th place, in 3rd place. We've got Jay Walsh, a new race leader for the AM category at the moment. We're looking at the front of the field at the moment with Hayden just having a real big door bang with Iziki in 5th place at the moment. Obviously Paul Hayden was that race winner in race 1, but had incidents with Martina which put paid to a lot of his advancements there in race 2. But we're certainly looking at the amateur battle here for the race win. Currently Austin Knight trying to get that move. We're watching the background. Is that Ian May? Yeah, Ian May, unfortunately, first 2 rounds having an exceptional job, and unfortunately spinning it out of Piper and having to go down to the back of the field. So certainly interesting, but it'll be interesting to see now Jens Goosens currently not at the front of the field in the amateurs, how he's going to get on. So currently lying there in 6th place, fighting very hard with Sereno. Goosens coming into the pits. We see that front bumper heavily damaged, so that contact with Principato at the 2nd corner has caused him to come into the pits.
Yeah, McCain joining him as well. Unfortunately, that's 2 drivers who got caught out in the turn 2 incident. There were plenty of more in there as well, going left, right and up the middle. Thankfully, we've still got enough cars in the race to have a race, as Germantis leads by half a second. Skinner closing in on him from the Leper in 3rd. I've got to tell you, Principato was my dark horse for the win in this race 3, and that was quickly put paid to. Now watching Pinocchio in 4th, I think I'll change my bet and go for Pinocchio for the win in race 3.
I'm going to go for Germantis. I think he's going to stick his nose out in front, which he'll be able to do. So I think he might hold off on that first place. What we see is Pella makes a dive down the inside there of Pinocchio to take that second place. And then we see Skinner having a real big battle there with Pinocchio, trying to make the position but not quite getting it done through the revolver pipe set of corners. As we come up to Redmond now, will he dive down the inside? No, he doesn't. Looking at who's it, Mitch? No, that's not Mitch. That's Ziki behind him, just trying to make a move on the inside and pressurising Hayden. These pro-am drivers are really putting a lot of pressure on these pro drivers around, which is great to see, keeping them honest and doing an exceptional job. So we've got 3 pro-am drivers in the top 5 at the moment within this race.
Yeah, Skinner unfortunately losing 2 positions there and almost lost a third to Ziki, who's clearly wanting to go with his 2 friends in front of him. Nalepa on the defensive. Pinocchio giving him all sorts of troubles as Martinez sets the fastest lap of the race on lap 2 there, 1:44.3. He's the meeting the Ferrari Pagnan sandwich, who are surprisingly still back in 8th and 10th. They haven't made the gains we might have expected from them in these opening 2 laps.
I think we normally come to see this for Ferrari. He takes it nice and easy on our first couple of laps because it can be carnage in these 15-minute races. So I think this is what we normally come to see of Ferrari. Just gives it nice and easy, and then all of a sudden just seems to press that NOS button and manages to shoot himself up into the top 5 to top 3 to challenge him for the race win. So certainly wouldn't count him out here as you see him at the background side by side with his teammates. But going 2 by 2, looks like they're going into the arc here around the hairpin. Manages to keep it nice and clean, but Pinocchio there challenging for that P2 position. I think he has managed to get it done. He was on the inside into the corner, as we see further back. Napella just managing to keep that 3rd place at the moment. Lost the 2nd to Pinocchio. Skinner there in 4th place with his teammate now behind him in 5th place, just driving up the inside of Ziki and making that move stick at the moment, as Ziki will probably come back, as we see very competitive. And Roberto Ferrari just trying to get around the outside of Martina there for 8th place. Still managing to get it done, but will be over the outside of Martina, will have that inside line for this last corner. But Ferrari managing to stick it around the outside. Yes, he does, and takes that position. So great bit of driving there for Ferrari that manages to move up to 7th, but Pagnan still there in 9th place, so tracking his championship rival as close as he can, and just needs to have a better round than what he did in round 2.
Yeah, Ferrari really squeezed Martinez through the last 2 corners there, I think. Put a lot of trust in the abilities of Martinez to hold such a tight line, which clearly he managed to do. These guys 7th, 8th and 9th battling more with each other than the guys in front at the moment. Meanwhile, Yamantis with a 2nd lead from Pinocchio. Pinocchio now, I think, pulling clear of Nalepa as we join the fight for 15th. McMullen on the left, Bingham on the right. Coming down into the turn 4 hairpin through the Moss S's. And Bingham appears to have held that off. In behind them we've got Principato recovering from that first lap incident. All he seems to be doing tonight is recovering, unfortunately for him.
Certainly does, as they come down side by side. We've got Tom Bingham on the inside, Damien Mullen on the outside coming down into the hairpin. He's going to be the winner out here. So Tom Bingham just going down the inside, but a great outside move there from Damien McMullen, keeping it side by side, and will get the move done having the inside lines for Revolver and Piper. So managing a great move there around the outside of the hairpin in turn number 5 after the straights, and got a bit of a battle here with Lesney. Oh no! And was that, who was that?
Serrano, I think.
214, Serrano. Timmy Serrano getting it slightly wrong. And we have another one. Is that Jens? Was that East Frederick there? So Serrano getting caught up in 2 little incidents in 2 corners. Unfortunately, the second one, he was an innocent bystander, but that's just the carnage that is these 15-minute races. It's just a sprint fest, and the drivers often take optimistic moves that probably are not there, that they would normally take in the 25 minutes, taking it a little bit easier. But certainly in this 15-minute races, the blood certainly gets boiled. But out in the front, we have Germanta still managing to keep that first place position over Ivan Pinocchio in P2. Managed to get a little bit of a gap where they had the fighting in the P2, and at the moment still managing to keep that slight little gap, 0.7 of a second of Pinocchio in second place, but doing a great job to keep that lead at the moment. But Lapella as well in third place is really putting a lot of pressure, and these two Pro-Am drivers they must be enjoying this track tonight, because they've really been mixing it up with the pro drivers.
Yeah, fortunately for Yamantis, Pinocchio took 4 tenths out of him last lap. He's taken 4 further tenths this lap so far. Oh, as Pagnan on the inside of Martina just slides across the front of him there, gets the position. Meanwhile, Ferrari's looking at Zerdzicki. Deep on the brakes into the first of these 2 hairpins. Yep, and slides out in front of him. Nice job. Pagnan looking to also make benefit there. He's on the inside. Has he got an overlap for this final last corner? No, just has to dip back out of it. Zerdzicki now down to 7th. Pagnan and Martina right on his tail, hoping to follow Ferrari through probably on the next lap. At the front, we're down to 4 tenths between Yamantis and Pinocchio. The Jaws theme is playing loudly in Yamantis' ears right now.
You know, it's still got another 6 minutes left. 6 minutes left of this third race here, so certainly going to have to be defending hard, and we know how hard Pinocchio does try to make passive moves, and you know, you give him a slight sniff of an opportunity, and Ivan Pinocchio will try and take it here. So we're looking to upward curve. No opportunity at the moment for Pinocchio, but stays extremely close into the back, pulls alongside just off the pace, but importantly has managed to get that inside line now coming down the drag race to turn number 5 in the hairpin. So Pinocchio will have this inside line going in. It's whether Yamantis can carry the speed around the outside. We have seen it done before, and we saw it done in the last couple of laps to get that outside, but just tucking in behind Ivan Pinocchio at the moment. So Pinocchio managing to take the P1 position in this third race, the pro driver, over Yamantis in second and Lampella in third. Hayden in 4th and Skinner, so Old Time Racing having a great third race here with the drivers in 4th and 5th, with Ferrari, Pagnan in 6th and 7th at the moment. So really, I think all Ferrari needs to do is just try to keep in front of Pagnan, and he will certainly close the gap at the top of the championship and may even take it. But there's a real battle at the moment for the amateur battle. You have Austin Knight in car 13 and Fowler there just behind him, having a really good battle here for the Pro-Am win. And the good thing is that they're out on their own, so it's down to these two. They've got no other outside influences within their race, so it should be a really good battle between these two of who's going to come out on top for the amateur win in race number 3.
Yeah, we've lost Jens Goosens early, if we recall. So this is points in the bag for Austin Knight. We'll be looking to overhaul him and possibly take the lead in the championship if he can stay where he is right now. Meanwhile, at the front, Ferrari moved up past Skinner. He's up into 5th. Pagnan looking to follow him through there. Up the inside of Skinner now. Yeah, and I think he's got this done already. Oh, a little bit of a door bang as they just straightened out onto the back straight. So Zerdzicki, unfortunately, I think is slightly fallen off the back of these guys, as Yamantis looking up the inside of Pinocchio, wanting to snatch that position immediately back on the next lap.
Pagnan follows Ferrari through, so Skinner losing 2 places there, and under pressure from Martina, who's trying to go around the outside with the Baja Super Truck Racing line. If you don't know what I'm on about, just have a look. Oh yes, just have a look back at some previous Super Truck racing around here. You wouldn't recognise the lines that those trucks take around here, but certainly these drivers trying to keep it on track, and Skinner and Martina having a really good battle here for P7th. Skinner managing to keep that inside line over Martina, but Martina will have the stronger run on the outside, using all of the track. That Hopper and Motorsport team. Obviously, we saw a couple of calls. The 2 teammates losing a position, so hopefully those two can work together to try and overcome Skinner in front of him in P7th at the moment. But yeah, Skinner managing at the moment to keep that Old Time Racing within the top 7 in this third race, but heavily coming under pressure from Martina behind him in 8th, and Zeki in 9th is not that far away as we watch Zeki extremely wide with Musumeci following him, coming around outside of turn 2, lucky to keep that car on the road, but just managing to get it done. So the battle out front, Pinocchio still out front, only Jamantis 0.2 of a second, so really close as they come down the long straight. And then you have Hayden that's right on the back of Napella, so the battle for first and second and third and fourth at the moment as Hayden just pulls out on Napella. And Napella's just trying to push out Hayden wide into the hairpin, managing to get it done to get the positions as they were. Jamantis also not managing to get that move done.
Yeah, we've formed a 2x2x2 at the front of the pack. As Skinner out into the dirt again. We saw Martina out there last time. Oh, and we've got a spin from the leper, pointing the wrong way. Now, did he get help, or is that all on his own? He's obviously fighting with Hayden.
That's
before we rejoined him.
Let's hopefully watch a replay here. So Hayden and Pella fighting really hard as they come round Piper. Did Hayden just get a better run? I think there was a slight contact. I think Pella got a worse run and Hayden got a really good exit out of Piper and might have just tapped the back of Napella. So a bit of a racing incident, but that's a bit of a terrible time there for Napella, who was having an excellent race in P3. But what that has done is promoted a lot of the drivers up one place. Paul Hayden currently in P3 at the moment, with Ferrari just behind him in P4. Jamanta's still there in P2, the Pro-Am driver, so we'll be getting a decent amount of points there over Zetsiki, who's currently down there in 8th place. But a lot of pro drivers between Jamantas and Zetsiki that are trying to gun at the moment for Jamantas. Jamantas managed to get a decent gap over Hayden, so this battle behind him for the third place, the last position on the podium between our two championship contenders, Ferrari and Pagnan, and Hayden, is letting these front two drivers just slightly get out as we see Ferrari trying to take it around the outside of Paul Hayden. Paul Hayden got the inside line here for the hairpin. Pagnan just staying back off, just going to try and snipe any opportunities he possibly can do. Ferrari not managing to get that move done there over Paul Hayden. Paul Hayden still managing to keep that third place, so doing an excellent job at the moment to hold off Ferrari there in 4th place. But Ferrari is all over the back of him, and his other teammate there, Skinner in P7, trying to hold off Zetsiki and Musumeci. Musumeci just trying to get on the inside there of Zetsiki, but Zetsiki will push it up again in the inside into Hobbs. So whatever you can do, I can do better, is what Zetziki's just said to Musumeci.
Yeah, as we come to the line now, it's the final lap, last run to the flag. Looks like Pinocchio's going to take it. Yamantis only 2/10 behind, but there's not enough of a straight to get by. Pinocchio takes the final win of tonight. Yamantis in second from Hayden, Ferrari and Pagnan. Couldn't separate those two once again. Martina comes home 6th from Skinner, Zedzicki, Musumeci, Moons, De Kuiper. Knight's going to win for the AMs. Just a couple of tenths ahead of Fowler with Principato in 14th. Those two come across side by side. And we wait now for the final few drivers. Kedzia in 15th from Barlogio, 16th. Bingham, McMullen, Lesney. Waiting on May now. Battles all down the field. We've seen the Leper there in 24th, trying to recover. He's been through the pits and has managed to somehow find his way up into 24th position behind them, McCain and Goosens. Goosens, another driver we saw in the pits earlier, manages to get to the end of the race though.
I mean, these, obviously, welcome to the first race, Adam, of your 15 minutes, 3 15-minute races. It's just absolutely non-stop action for the full 15 minutes. You know, you have stuff happening all up and down the fields, where normally in the longer races the drivers do take it a little bit easier because they've got the time to make the positions up. Obviously 15 minutes in these cars is not a long time in the racing, and that's why it makes the racing so much more intense, and drivers making moves that maybe are not there on the hold. So certainly whoever be doing the protest will be sure they will be busy after this round, because there was a few incidents on that. But what I'll do, Adam, is I'll let you take us through race 3 results.
very much. So once again, our race winner for race 3 is Ivan Pinocchio. 2/10 ahead of Arya Umantis in second place, winning out for the Pro-Ams from Paul Hayden in third. Roberto Ferrari for Pro Drive Esport comes home in fourth in round 3. Marcelo Pagnan in 5th place from Martina Skinner Zerdzicki Musmechi, and Ronald Moons grabs the last place in the top 10. Niels de Kuiper comes home 11th, 10 seconds off the lead. Austin Knight in 12th from Russ Fowler, 13th for Green Future Racing. Principato, we saw him spin out and cause that big incident on lap 1, turn 2, comes home in 14th from Kedzia Barlogio. Tom Bingham claims 17th place from Damien McMullen. Raphael Lesney in 19th from Ian May. Paul Clist, Yves Fredericks, Jay Walsh in 23rd, Nalepa McCain, Goosens, Coleman, and unfortunately we saw Serrano not making it to the end, 5 laps down and last in our final race of tonight.
Yeah, we already have a few drivers in the interview area, so we'll just pull Austin Knight into the commentary booth. Obviously, our race 3 AM winner. Obviously, had a heated battle there with Russ Fowler managing to keep it out. But Austin, bit of a mixed bag for you tonight. Race 2, obviously, we saw the incident where you spun out on turn 2.
Let's not talk about that.
Which caused a little bit of a car park, but certainly made up for it in race 3.
Oh my gosh. Well, luck works in mysterious ways. Race 1, I knew that it was going to be crazy, and I just kept it clean and just didn't try anything. And I was in front of Ian. Ian came behind me in race number 1, and oh my gosh, those guys are like a wasp's nest at times. They're going for every single move in this format, which is why it's not my favorite. But so when I saw him behind me in race 2, I'm like, okay, get the best start and just try to pull away. And unfortunately, curbs exist, and I like shiny things, and I hit one, and unfortunately, the Okayama car park had a few new visitors today. But race 3, I'm just gonna stay at the back. Never in my mind would I have imagined the exact same incident to happen again, and somehow I threaded it through there. And hey, I think that's my first class victory in ARL MX5.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we were literally just watching it on stream as you were saying that, and we saw how you managed to thread it through there. It's very much a game of luck, really, when you have them mass car pileups, and luckily in that race 3, you did thread your way through it. But we saw towards the end of the race having a really good battle with Russ Fowler. Could you feel him breathing down your neck?
Oh, I can feel it breathing down my neck. I can feel it bumping me too. Like I can say, throughout most of that race, heading down into hairpin, I was giving him the inside line because I know the next corners are double left-handers and I can hold it around the inside. And I did that for like 3 laps in a row, and then he just didn't try it, and I'm just like, okay, that's good. Heading into the final lap, he tries it again. I do my typical setup, and I get a very good launch, but I put too much speed into the corner. He actually gave me a bump mid-quarter, and when you get a bump in these cars, you almost wreck. And I put in so much counter steer, and it got me fuming. I got a happy toggle switch on my wheel that I just started knocking it, and it said go left, go right, go left, and I'm just like, oh, I hope he doesn't take that as a sign that I'm letting him by.
I know.
But I mean, it was heated all the way to the end.
Yeah, I mean, we've had obviously each one of the 3 formats. We see the hour one, which is
my favorite.
Very much an endurance race, nice and calm, and then you sort of start ramping it up with the 2 25-minute race. There's still enough time for the drivers to do it, and then you get the kamikaze banzai effect of the old style 3 15-minute races.
And yet, you had to make the first kamikaze race here in Japan. Way to go.
Well, it has to be done, doesn't it, Austin? Do you know what I mean? But no, it's good. I mean, it just adds that little bit of spice and mustard, as you would say, into the championship. In that you you could be class winner and really good at the hour-long races and 25-minute races, but you need to master these sprint races as well, trying to keep it clean and just to keep them points ticking along. So, do you find it's a real challenge this season compared to, say, the other seasons, which have been sort of the free 15-minute race kamikaze rounds every time?
Yeah, it certainly brings a new set of skill sets throughout the season because, it's a season. It's not just one set of races. And last season, it was the most aggressive driver usually wins. And it was leading to a lot of aggressive racing, which usually for me and me alone, I'm not an aggressive driver. I don't like being aggressive. I don't like, I race single-seaters, okay? I don't like touching people. I like to keep my racing socially distanced. But yeah, the hour-long races strategy comes into there on when to pit. Yeah, we had the Nordschleifer in round 1, so everybody went into the pits at the same time. But in the upcoming rounds, it's going to be a little bit of a pit strategy and making sure to keep those tires alive. Just 25 minutes are fairly, I would say, the most mix of there, because at the end you do have to watch out the tires. But yeah, it's gonna show who's the better overall driver throughout an entire season, and I already know who the aggressive one are from this.
Yeah, definitely. But obviously next round you're saying about you prefer the hours. We go to Silverstone next for the next hour-long race. So from the carnage of Okayama should be the serenity of Silverstone with the hour-long race. How are you looking forward to that round?
I'm looking pretty okay for it. I might be starting from the pit lane from race 2. So, it's going to be a long one. But yeah, I'm feeling good about that. I'm rambling on along here, so I'm going to wrap myself up. So thank you all for having me along. It was a fantastic race for me. Thank you, everybody at Lead Paw Racing. My team, they've been supporting me a lot. They've been doing their other endeavors as well. And everybody at Artesian Builds who keeps supporting me, and Aporia Customs. All right, that's it. I'm out. Peace. Oh, and you all for doing the broadcast.
Yeah, cheers, Austin, and good luck in the next round. So that was Austin there, the race 3 winner in the amateur category. Who would you like to take, Adam? How about Paul Hayden?
Yeah, I'm going to concur with that one. I'd like to speak with Paul tonight.
There we go. Paul, welcome to the booth, and over to you, Adam.
Yeah, welcome, Paul. How was your night? Clearly a good one. 3 top 10 finishes for you.
Well, I definitely got a penalty coming next week, but yeah, it was fun. I thought I'd come in and have a chat with you guys because I haven't been in the booth before. But yeah, it was a fun race.
Yeah, you managed to claim 3rd in that last race, jump up onto the podium. How's that feel tonight?
I feel a bit bad that I turned the guy to get it. Didn't mean to. He opened up his steering wheel on the exit, and I gave him a bit of a love tap, and it turned him around. So I didn't really deserve the 3rd place. But I guess I will get my pit lane start next week, and what swings around comes around.
Yeah, that was Nalepa we saw there, wasn't it? Christian Nalepa just in front of you. Unfortunately, you got a slightly better exit of him out of turn 7, just caught him in the rear. But yeah. I think there was a lot of that going around tonight.
Yeah, I had a bit of a history with him from last week with regards to blocking and stuff, and maybe I got a bit too close, and it's my own fault. I should have held back a bit.
Yeah, and obviously tonight we're back to the 15-minute rounds, 3 races. We've done all 3 formats so far in this season. Which has been your favourite?
I quite like the 1-hour races. To be honest, I like the pit fuel strategy. I guess that's what it is again next week, isn't it, at Silverstone?
Yeah, we're going back to the 1-hour format for our visit to Silverstone. I assume have you picked up any strategy tips from first round? What are you going to do there?
No, not really. I could have run 4 laps like some of the others at the Nordschleifer. I wish I had, to be honest, because I'd saved a lot of fuel the first 3 laps. But yeah, who knows? I think it's a fuel-saving race to jump people in the pits.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us, Paul. Before you go, if you want to shout out anyone, here's your chance.
Just my teammate. Well done, Dan. On to the next one. Cheers, guys.
Thanks very much, Paul.
Thanks.
Cheers,
Bye.
Paul. There's Paul Hayden there. Obviously, you're 3rd place and did very well in the 2nd race as well. I think he was leading it and unfortunately got Probably what he did in the third race there got slightly taken out, but great days racing for the old time racing overall. So we currently have let's have a chat with Damien, our resident Irishman in that race. So Damien, we saw some quite aggressive moves from yourself and lunges there in these 350. Man, it takes me back to the good old days when we normally see it. How was that for you, mate?
It was literally. Can you hear me anyway? Can't you?
Yeah, we can, mate.
Yeah, no, it's grand. No, yeah, it was a bit elbows out tonight, and yeah, I was kind of a bit like elbows out, enjoy it, and see what I can do.
So, I mean, how was your results there? You finished what, P4 in class there for the second one, having a bit of a tussle with Tom Bingham.
Yeah, good battle with Tom. Really good battle with Tom, and really enjoy it. Like he's making me sweat and everything, so that's a good complaint. But yeah, no, like race 2, I was happy I got P3, so I was happy with that. But race 2, third, and race 3 was 4th. I'm happy with that. Like it's good points.
Yeah, some decent points. So we've had each one of the 3-round formats, Matt. Which one do you feel that you prefer, Damien?
I prefer the old 15-minute 3 races. I prefer them. Old school.
You just like the carnage, don't you? That's what you like, Damien.
Oh yeah, carnage, and then the reverse grids and everything's really good. But it didn't happen this time because I was way back. Qualifying was terrible for me tonight. So, but look, I enjoyed it. I'm smiling. Really good energy out of everyone. And I want to say one thing before anything else happens. Mr. Ian May didn't want to come in because he was too nervous to come in for an interview.
Oh, that's unfortunate because he did really well tonight.
Oh,
so
savage driver.
It's he's had a bit of a baptism of fire to the Mazda League, being his first season. His first 2 rounds were not the best, obviously getting involved with a few incidents, but certainly made up for it tonight here in Okayama. So if you do manage to chat to him, just say well done from the comms team, and keep it going forward, mate. So before we let you go, mate, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
I just want to thank my sponsors, Formula Nonsense, IMB Racewear, and to everyone else that has tuned in. Again, thank you, and to yourselves. What a great championship you're running, lads. Honestly, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. And I think, Adam, we got time for one last interview, and it's one of my fellow teammates, Tom Bingham. So I won't be biased and take the interview and hand it over to you, mate.
Yeah, welcome to the booth, Tom.
Good evening, chaps. How you doing?
Yeah, we're all good here. We've just watched 3 cracking races. How was it from your point of view?
One cracking race for me, honestly. Race 1, I got punted. Race 2, there was a whole bunch of, fruit salad in the middle of the track, so I got stuck in that. And then race 2, had to whip my way from the back, but managed to I think I got P3. But yeah, an insane battle with Damien, absolutely insane. So he and I were Rubbin was racing in that last race. Definitely good fun.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. We've obviously returned for the 3 races format tonight. Has that upped the excitement for you?
Yeah, definitely. It's something I'm not overly used to, honestly. I don't really do sprint racing for the reason that people just send it like crazy a lot of the time. But there was some pretty respectful racing in all of this, and it was good fun. I'm looking forward to Silverstone though. That'll be Silverstone, Spa, Hockenheim. Those are my tracks really. I'm not a big fan of Okayama, but it was still good fun. Even though I got killed, it was still good fun.
Yeah, returning to the big track next week of Silverstone. How's that gonna differ from tonight, do you think?
More space, more runoff, be a nice thing. No ridiculously tight chicanes. At least there's chicanes where you can go, hairpins where you can go 2, even maybe 3 wide. Okayama is a very punishing track. If you decide to go off, you're going to go off hard. So at least with Silverstone, there should be a bit of runoff and a bit of room for people to to make way for each other. So.
And are you going to get plenty of practice in before next week?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't actually do any practice for this race. I did, I think, a couple of hours just before because I was busy with commitments over the weekend. But yeah, no, Silverstone will be a big one for me. I absolutely love that track. So if I'm not sort of near the front of Silverstone, I'll be disappointed in myself.
We'll be watching out for you then, Tom. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Cheers, lads. Thanks a lot, and thanks again for the stream and everything. I really appreciate it.
Cheers, Tom, and congratulations on your third place there, mate.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
There was Tom, obviously finishing in third place, having a very good battle with Damien McMullen. Didn't have the best of the first races. Second, just pretty much trying to keep it there in the third race, managing to keep it clean, but did quite a few fruit salads, as Tom put it, incidents in race 1 and 2. But Adam, obviously your first 3 15-minute races, what's your thought and thought for the rest of the season, mate?
Yeah, just a really enjoyable night. I said at the start of the night I was looking forward to getting down to these quick sprint races where it's all or nothing, and we definitely saw that from certain drivers tonight. Glad to see Pinocchio take his first win of the season as well, displacing Pagnan and Ferrari. Let's see what happens next week when we go back to the 1 hour format.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, as the racing was that intense, we didn't really manage to talk about our main sponsors for this season, which is Virtual Racing School, SDK Gaming, and Apex Racing Academy. So a big thanks to them guys for sponsoring this season. That brings us to the end of round 3 here at Okayama, and the end of the last formats within this championship. So as we've been saying in there, we come round to Silverstone next week for the hour-long session with the pit stop strategies thrown in, so the drivers can relax a little bit after their first 15 minutes experience in the Mazda Cup and enjoy the serenity of the hour-long race around Silverstone. But we've been entertained here tonight with some exceptional races, some big incidents as always, but some great racing and great respect to each of the drivers. So from myself, Andy Thompson, from Adam Hatfield joining alongside me in some of the commentary box, and Cyril Kumo in the production booth, we bid you farewell tonight and look forward to seeing you the same time next week at Silverstone. Good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers, including Peter Berryman, John Robertson, Brandon Trano, and IndyCar World Champion Alex Palou. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.